Hey everybody, good morning. My name is Jeanette Paradis and I live in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's a snowy day here today in Erie. I'm a wife, I'm a mom. My kids are in grades kindergarten and third. Um, I've been in Erie the last 10 years now. I grew up a couple of hours southeast of here. Then I spent some time living in all of the states, basically around Pennsylvania. After high school, I traveled around and worked different horse jobs. Then I went to college in New York. Then I went back to Horse World and worked more horse jobs. So I work from home now. I write a blog. I'm a health coach. I help other people with their health goals. And so this is me most days working from home. Got my favorite sweatshirt. My hair, I'm probably going to wash it later today when I shower. But anyway, there's something that's been on my mind and I wanted to make this video. So a few days ago on Sunday, I was at church and we were having communion. And, whenever it's time for communion, that's usually something we do like once a month or so at our church, everyone together. And the idea is that before communion is served, that you take a few moments to reflect. You think about, where you are right now, what might be, holding you back from moving forward in your faith. If there's anything kind of dulling the communication between you and God, between you and your Heavenly Father. So as I was taking that time to reflect, there was just a thought that came to mind, and it was so strong. And, I've really been thinking as we come out of 2015, here we are, I think it's January 11th, so we're, just in the start of 2016. And the thought that came to mind was the question, are you on the bit? If you're a horse person, you'll know right away what this means. If you're not a horse person, no worries, because I'm going to explain it to you. This video is going to go into a blog entry, which is also going to have some illustrations there as well. So to not be too technical, so the question, are you on the bit? In horse world, if you're a rider and you are riding a horse, when that horse is on the bit, that's referring to, okay, so picture the horse's body. This is the horse's head here. This is the horse's tail back in here. When a horse is on the bit, they are flexed forward at the pole up here between their ears. They're flexed. They're on the bit. The bit is in their mouth. The reins connect to the rider's hands. So when a horse is on the bit, they're using their back muscles properly. Their hind end is engaged. Their back legs are coming up underneath them well. They're balanced. They're moving forward. They are sensitive to direction from the rider. When a horse is on the bit, they're in good communication with the rider. They're in a good frame physically. They're balanced. So whatever instruction the rider might give them next, they are ready, to receive that instruction and do whatever it is that the rider is asking them to do. As a rider, it's very enjoyable to ride a horse who is actively engaged and is on the bit. When a horse is not on the bit, they are not fun to ride because a horse that's not on the bit, first off, they're kind of fighting you. They're not working that hard at their job. They're working harder to not do their job. So a horse that's not on the bit, instead of being flexed nicely at the pole, the P-O-L-L between their ears, instead of being flexed there, they're usually kind of pushing forward, or they could be evading the bit and be behind the bit. That's not quite as common though. Most likely they're going to be out in front of the bit. Now what happens in that case is the horse's back hollows out. So instead of using that top line and developing well, their back is hollowed out. Their back legs aren't working up underneath them anymore. They're not engaged. They're strung out. So their whole body, instead of their frame being rounded, they're strung out. like this. They're not fun to ride. And when a horse is not on the bit, they're not balanced. You could give that horse the next direction, whether it's to change their gait, their pace, their speed. If you want to change direction, if you want to head towards a jump, if you're doing a pattern, if you want to make a circle or a figure eight, it's not fun to ride a figure eight on a horse not on the bit. So all this to say, Sunday morning, as I'm sitting there getting ready for communion, and the thought that just like, bam, like came to mind, are you on the bit? Oh, that hit me because, coming out of 2015, there were certain things that I had hoped would happen that didn't happen. I think we can all relate to that a little bit. But, when things don't happen that you would really, kind of hoped for and had your heart set on, it's easy to be disappointed. That's a natural response. But what we don't want to have happen is to have that disappointment turn into resentment, because that can happen too as a natural response. The things that I keep coming back to, there's a verse in the Bible where it says to take every thought captive. And, the thoughts that come into our mind, we can't control that. But what we do with those thoughts, we can control. And that is going to really direct the course of our day. And the other thing that, I just keep thinking about is just the question, do I trust God? Do I trust God's timing? Do I trust his plan for my life? Do I trust him to direct me? Do I trust myself to be sensitive to his direction? Has been a big question for me. So that question that came to me at the beginning of communion, are you on the bit? It kind of just brought a lot of things together as I thought about 2015 going into 2016, from thousands upon thousands of hours spent riding, teaching, training. Being on the bit makes all the difference in the experience, the outcome. It's just everything. It's everything. And you know what? We have a good rider. We have a good trainer. God, he's our heavenly Father. He has our best at heart. There's a lot of things that maybe I would do wrong on a horse that are rider error. Well, when we have God with his hands on the reins in our lives, as long as we trust him and we're living in obedience and we are on the bit, it's pretty amazing to think of where we could go from there. So Sunday went by. This was just so much on my mind. I was thinking about it. Lo and behold, I'm scrolling Facebook later that evening, and what pops up? An image that I'm going to include in my blog link. It was just like, oh boy, total confirmation. And sometimes, God just brings the little details together in our lives. He is the author of our lives. He's our creator. He's writing the story. And, when we will remember to look for his hand at work, we will see that thread of faithfulness that just runs through our days and through our story. So I'm going to write a little bit more about this in my blog. I'm going to give you a couple photo illustrations of what a horse looks like on or off of the bit. And thanks for watching, and have a great day.